Welcome to the best of high school sports in Northern California, specifically Sacramento. We are the B Prep Show presented by Save Mart.
And we're coming to you from Folsom High School. Kind of feels like the surface of the sun, but you know what? The competition's red hot too.
Welcome to the debut of the B Prep Show presented by Save Mart. I'm your host, Mike Finnerty, joined by my co-host, Joe Davidson of the Sacramento Bee. And we are back once again, 42 shows on Comcast Sportsnet California. New shows every Tuesday. Re-airs Wednesdays and Thursdays show, but most importantly, if you miss those, you can catch a show on sacb.com. And Joe, we not only have a full school year ahead of us, 42 shows, takes us up to June, but we got a packed show today.
Yeah, we kind of set the table for football. We'll go over the rankings, the top teams, why they're the top teams, some of the great players, some of the skill players of note around the area. Soccer is big in this area, section champions and players that go on to scholarship. Volleyball is another big-time sport in the fall. We touch on all of those. We're also going to talk about, in other segments, a new Sac Joaquin section commissioner and why his role is important. And new football stadiums for 4 area programs. You get a new digs. It's really nice. All of that and much more.
Yes, and much more. But we're going to start with football. And Joe, if you take a look at the Sacramento Bee rankings 1 through 20, it starts with the Folsom Bulldogs at number 1. We are here at Folsom. They're practicing behind us. Joe, this is a team that has been perhaps the best in the area the last few years. They've come short against De La Salle of Concord. We know about them. But to get to where they want to get to that state bowl, they got to get by De La Salle.
Yeah, and they won't talk about De La Salle just yet, the Bulldogs, but in the back of their mind, it's percolating because De La Salle's on everybody's mind, having owned everybody in Northern California since 1991. Jesuit of Carmichael opens the season against De La Salle at Levi Stadium. We're going to have previews of some of those games for Week 0 at the end of the show. But Folsom is the premier section superpower, 14-1 each of the last 2 seasons. Starts with Jake Browning. 5,700 yards passing as a junior last season. He makes all the throws, Mike. He's a terrific leader. 75 touchdowns, as humble a superstar as we've ever encountered around here. But the real foundation for Folsom is the offensive line. They got tough guys. They got finesse guys. They've got a terrific combination with the skill players. This is a big-time state championship contender.
And they're led by 2 head coaches, co-head coaches, Chris Richardson, Troy Taylor. They're good friends. They got a system that's been working well for them. Offensively, they're good buddies, family friends. And I got to think that bleeds over the team and just the overall camaraderie. Well, of course, we had a chance to catch up with them as well as some others.
This group of seniors, very experienced group of guys. We're bigger, stronger, faster. I'm really thrilled with where the offensive line is. I mean, returning, 4 of the 5 starters, and you add in Jonah Williams, who's just a big monster. So, I like where we're at up front. And the defense is playing extremely well. And again, a lot of returning guys on both sides of the ball.
The thing that I've been the most impressed with is they're hungry. They're still working to get better. And, we don't take a game at a time. We take it a day at a time, and we try to get better. Every single day there's an opportunity, and then our guys have really done a good job of focusing in on just the day-to-day activities.
Motivation is just to see how far we can go. Coach pushes us every day, and then we just see where we can end up in the season. We just push ourselves harder and harder each week, the teams we play. So it's just mostly we progress is how we play. So
we're in the weight room a lot longer. We're doing speed training in sand pits down at Livermore, like speed training on the field, tire flips, weights, all that stuff. The offense is ridiculous this year. It's just all come together.
Well, I love coaching pass protection with the offensive linemen, but, with this group of guys, we still have power run football. We can get after people too. And I think last year, if you watched our games, I had a lot of people coming to games saying, I just thought you guys throw the ball. But the effectiveness of our run game last year was a major factor in our success.
Well, I think we got a good culture established just within the whole program and the community. High expectations, but not a lot of high pressure. You just go day to day and get your stuff done. But as for the actual teammates and all that, I've been playing with them for a long time, and a lot of friendships and stuff like that.
We got to talk about Jake Browning, your quarterback. He's starting his 3rd year as a varsity starter. And what makes Jake so unique?
I think the thing that makes him the most unique is his temperament. He's the same guy that I knew as when he was in 5th grade, the same personality. And he's a very even-tempered guy. on the field and off. So no matter if he's thrown 10 touchdown passes or a couple interceptions, he's always the same guy. You can never really tell the difference. And that has served him well because it's just his overall consistency. And I think the other thing that makes him really unique is, he gets a lot of attention, but it's not something that he really feels that he needs or even wants. I think he's comfortable with it, but he's just an ultimate teammate. He really is. If he came out here, you've been out here a lot, he doesn't act any different than anybody else. The teammates love him because of that, and a very humble guy, and he's all about the team.
This is like the first year that we're like big. We've always been like small fly around guys. We got me, Jonah, Lucas, like Nooner, Cody. We're all just big this year. Physical. It'll be fun.
Speaking of good players, we've got a list right here in our hands, and these are some of the guys that you should watch for this year. And we're going to start it off with a running back. How about Marcel Brown of Rio Linda? This guy was just an absolute beast last year. He could be one of the best in the state, and he's going to really have to put it on his shoulders if they want to go far.
Yeah, 2,000 yards rushing last season. He's got a new coach, Justin Reber. He's the man. Power, burst. If you want defensive might, Cameron Smith of Granite Bay and Placer County, 3-year starting linebackers, going to USC. He looks like a bouncer, and he may play some offense this year. And I don't know if that's really humane.
Not humane. I like that. All right, how about another running back? We'll call him like a flyback type. That's Justice Shelton Mosley out of Capital Christian. The guy can just do everything. He can return kicks. He's a receiver. He's a running back. He could probably quarterback if he wants to. He's on defense. One of the fastest guys in this area. Big-time Division I recruit. 8 interceptions as well. He's a big-time player for a small school that has bowl championship hopes as well, Capital Christian of Sacramento. Ian Book, as a sophomore for Oak Ridge and El Dorado Hills, played beyond his years. He could avoid pressure. He could make all the throws, led the Trojans to their first Sac Joaquin Section Division I championship game. Yeah, and let's go out to Elk Grove. How about Spencer Sheff for the Thundering Herd? He's a running back. He does it all. He's going to take over some of the horses of years past. He's going to carry that torch. Look for Elk Grove to be good again. Coming up next, we're going to introduce you and talk a little bit about the new Sac Joaquin Section Commissioner, Michael Garrison. And, of course, we'll talk some boys soccer. Stick around.
There's a history you feel when you visit any of the Von Hausen automotive dealerships. You'll sense the quality of Mercedes-Benz, and you'll experience the low-pressure atmosphere that comes from 2 generations of family ownership. Mercedes-Benz of Sacramento, Mercedes-Benz of El Dorado Hills, and Mercedes-Benz of Rockland. 3 great reasons to drive one of the world's best automobiles. Come feel the difference or visit vonhausen.com.
All right, welcome back to the B Prep Show here on Comcast as we air 3 times a week. Check your local listings, also on sacb.com. Brought to you by our good friends from Save Mart Supermarkets up and down the valley, the heart of our coverage area. Mike, before we start talking about soccer in this region, some of the top teams, some of the interviews and the players to look for, every section in the state has to have a commissioner. And Pete Sacco is the outgoing Sac Joaquin Section Commissioner, a real visionary. The new man we think is a great hire, Mike Garrison. I think he's the right guy for this because he really believes in the motto of the CIF is accountability, structure. Cannot let transfers and undue influence run rampant over high school sports. Does that happen in high school sports? It absolutely happens in high school sports. It's a real epidemic in Southern California. It's not been such a problem in the Sac Joaquin section because, in large part, I think, because of the section commissioners. Mike Garrison, great hire.
Yep. He comes from Rockland High School, by the way, principal, athletic director. He's had kids play sports, so he knows as a parent, as an administrator, he knows how to run the section. He'll do a great job, and we're going to miss Pete Sacco after all those years.
All right, football. We talked about football in the first segment, the top teams, the top players. We'll talk a little bit more football later in the show. There's the other football as well. Soccer in the Sac Joaquin section, and Sacramento specific has been really good. Granite Bay, Jesuit, Davis. You caught up to Paul Rose over in Jesuit. He's got another powerhouse program. What makes this guy so good, and why is the program so good?
Well, I mean, he's basically Jesuit soccer. He's the history of soccer. You know, he's won multiple championships over the years, well respected. And he, Joe, he loves what he does. He loves his school, and he's a winner. And once again, we've got them at the top. They're our #1 team, and we caught up with him to get his thoughts.
I never look back. I never think about, what we have accomplished, except to make sure they understand the tradition. But I always look forward. And so I'm looking forward to this year. I think we got a great group of guys. They work hard all year, and this is their time to kind of come out and shine. So I get excited.
You fell short in the big game last year, a tough one, double overtime to Granite Bay.
Yeah.
What kind of team, if you could compare it, that you have this year to, say, last year's?
I think this year's team doesn't have the superstars, but I think they'll be a very good team in terms of a team concept. Last year's team, we fell short. It's tough to go undefeated. We lost one game last year, and it was just the wrong game. I always say soccer is a cruel mistress. You can do everything right, and in the end, you don't win. And, they're high school kids. They make mistakes. We scored that goal, 6 minutes left. You think you got it, and you take your foot off the gas, and boom. So, life lessons learned.
Last question for you, a couple players to watch for to lead the way for this year's Marauders.
Okay, so Luke Barbe, our goalie, he's been our goalie for 3 years now. Diego Buenrostro, forward, he was our starter last year. Gonzalo Garcia, another kind of standout guy. Even though we don't have as many kids coming back, the kids that we have coming back are standouts.
Paul Rose, the all-time winningest coach in California, 700-plus wins. I think he's going to go another 25 years or so. He's got a lot of passion. There's a lot of good soccer in this region. Small school, medium school, large schools. Who's some of the others?
Well, some of the others to look at, obviously Granite Bay, they could be #1 as well. We got them at #2. You've got schools like Capital Christian, perennial powerhouse, Bella Vista, Christian Brothers, and their star player, Christian Hepner. Cosumnes Oaks is going to be back and good, although they lost Betancourt. You've got schools like Oak Ridge, Rockland, McClatchy, Burbank, they're everywhere. Franklin, Grant, you can never count out. So we're looking forward to this season. We can't wait to get it started. But I think, once again, it's the same suspects, Jesuit and Granite Bay, near the top. So if you want to see the rest of our top 10, top 20 rankings, here you go.
This is your RAM Auto Update.
Just in, the classic term used car is old-fashioned, outdated, and no longer of any particular relevance. Let's party. The Roseville Auto Mall is throwing a massive factory-certified pre-owned sales event. That means incredible savings on just about every kind of car in the world. All factory certified. It's happening now. It's going fast. In layman terms, skedaddle. The Roseville Auto Mall, driven to be the best.
Welcome back to the B Prep Show on Comcast Sports California. Airs throughout the week and also on Fridays at sacb.com. We also have coverage galore there, brought to you by our good friends Save Mart Supermarkets up and down the valley, where all our coverage is. Mike, in the first segment we talked about high school football, the top teams, the top rankings, the top players, and then we talked a little soccer. And now the other sport of note in the fall is volleyball. You've covered it inside and out for a lot of years. Granite Bay was the undefeated section champion and state champion last year. Who are the heavyweights this year?
Well, here's what's interesting about this year's volleyball season and rankings the whole bit this year. You've got many teams that could make the claim to be #1. We chose the Christian Brothers Falcons. They come back as defending section champion, Division III. Same coach in place, Diane Heine. They only lose one key starter, that's Iris Anderson. So they've got talent coming back. But really, you can make an argument for El Camino, St. Francis, Granite Bay, Rockland, Oak Ridge. We've sort of had the gamut. I probably left someone out there, but bottom line, Joe, any team can make that claim, but we went with the Christian Brothers Falcons, and we also caught up with them.
I'm just really excited about the team leadership this year. I have it's led by 2 seniors, Natasha Bowman and Lauren Overstreet, and junior Ashlyn Fresquez, and they're just such positive and just inspiring role leaders. You know, I expect Lauren's Overstreet. You know, she was an outside hitter last year, but she just really, her desire, her passion for the game, and natural leadership skills, I think we can count on her a lot, along with Natasha and, you know, Paloma, libero, and Ashlyn is an outside hitter. And then I have Liz Robinson coming back in the middle, and the other middle, Ryan Thomason. There's just a lot of them that have just improved.
I love how we all connect really well. We're all a really tight-knit group, and we communicate well with each other, and we have like a really strong bond.
Yeah, it's really exciting starting this new season, and like we're just all starting to play together, and it's really connecting well.
We have most of our group from last year, so we like know each other really well, play good on the court together, and we expect to maybe beat Granite Bay this year. They were a tough challenge last year, but I think they lost some of their seniors, so I think we have a good chance at them this year.
I'm really looking forward to the competition. I think it'll be really strong, and I'm excited to play all the teams, knowing that you never know who's going to come out with a win.
It's going to be such a fun season. I mean, our league alone, the new one we're moving into, is going to be so competitive. So, I mean, you could be anybody on that number one. I mean, somebody's going to have a bullseye, whoever's up there. You know, all the teams. It's going to be fun season.
Always need to be inside the gym of Christian Brothers High School, one of the storied programs over the decades. Mike, who are a couple Falcons to look for, and who are some players to look for around the area?
Falcons, it starts with Natasha Baumann. She's a terrific left-handed outside hitter, big-time power. And perhaps one of the best players in the area, Joe, is Maddie Haynes of Rockland. Just an outstanding middle to outside hitter. She could be the best in the area. But you've got many players. It just depends on which school you're talking about.
And it's amazing the depth. You got large schools, medium schools, smaller schools. They all play each other in the early rounds. So ambitious scheduling is part of their language, and we admire that.
Yeah. All right, Joe, that's your volleyball coverage right there. We got more in the show. One segment left. We're going to finish it up. We're going to tell you about some of the new football stadiums in the area. We're going to talk about some of maybe the new coaches. We got plenty of coaching turnover since last fall.
And big games to look for in week 0.
You bet.
A credit union is a not-for-profit member-owned financial institution. Can your bank say that? Demand more from your financial institution. Make the switch to Schools Financial Credit Union for low loan rates, state-of-the-art technology, making accounts accessible anytime, anywhere, and more ATMs than most major banks. Anyone who lives, works, or worships in Sacramento and its surrounding counties is eligible to join. Be part of the credit union difference and bank happily ever after with Schools.
All right, welcome back to the B Prep Show here on Comcast Sports California, as we bring you the best of high school sports strong in the Sac Joaquin section, Northern California. Big emphasis right here in our roots in Sacramento, brought to you by our good friends from Save Mart up and down the valley. They're big in high school sports. We're big into high school sports. Mike, we're going to break down some of the games to look for 0 week here in a moment. But the first thing I want to talk about is there are new stadiums. Old schools getting new digs. Everybody likes to drive a new car, and it's going to bring out athletes. It's going to bring out more intrigue. It's nice to see school bonds coming through for El Camino, Del Campo, Capital Christian, and
Kennedy.
Rosemont, and Kennedy.
Yep.
And all these schools were open in the 50s and 60s. You stop by, the construction is a beautiful sight.
Yeah, you know, we think about these stadiums, we think first of football, as we should, but, you know, track and field uses those, soccer uses them as well. And now as we kind of, you know, as these schools get these fields, there's only a few left that don't have these fields, but it's going to bring out a lot of people. And we almost hope that kind of bolsters how many folks go out for track and field and football and that.
It does. It's been proven up in El Dorado High School up in Placerville. They talk about with Athletic Director Joe Volek, people came out of the woodwork. They want to be involved. El Camino opened in 1950. It needed a new stadium. Del Campo opened in 1963. It's long overdue. Kennedy, the Sacramento City Unified School District, 1968. It was time. Capital Christian opened in 1977, not so old. Needed a new stadium. It's neat to see. Mike, new coaches out there a little bit too. Jason Rosso was a longtime junior varsity coach in the Elk Grove Unified School District at Pleasant Grove High School. He was excited to take over for Joe Catalogo. Doesn't even get to coach a game. He had a brain surgery. He's okay. His longtime friend from high school, Russell Gardner, takes over, so there's coaching change there. Coaching changes at Casumas Oaks, also in the Elk Grove District, Union Mine, up in Highway 50. Football coaches change, and they were stunned. So sometimes change happens, and even with playoff perennial things, it's the nature of the beast. We'll see. It's the programs that have stability that succeed all the time. We saw that list of the top 20 teams. Those are the programs that have stability.
Yep. All right, Joe, let's get to football. We want games. We want to talk about games. We want to preview games. 0 week, as it's known now. Bunch of games taking place. You probably your feature games, which probably includes Jesuit taking on De La Salle from the new Levi's Stadium there in San Francisco. Another big one, we'll get to that. Another big one is Del Oro taking on a team from Hawaii. You've got Grant and Burbank. So you got a little bit of everything. You've got local teams playing out-of-area teams, and you got rivals playing.
Oh, yeah, it's good stuff. Jesuit of Carmichael, coached by Marlon Blanton, who played at De La Salle, got his coaching start at De La Salle, taking on the monster. De La Stomp is what the Spartans have been known as. De La Salle hasn't lost to a Northern California team since 1991. In the North Coast section finals to Pittsburgh of Antioch. That's a long time. And it's mowed through the Sac Joaquin section in this area. But Jesuit has got talent. Isaiah Bailey is terrific. Bo Bisharat runs with power and purpose. This could be a very good game. It's at Levi Stadium in Santa Clara. You said San Francisco. Fact check you right there, my friend. The Honor Bowl. It's got Del Oro, ranked second by the Sacramento Bee, and then taking on a Nevada team. A Hawaii superpower coached by Doug Cosby, the former Sac High coach, used to play for the Dallas Cowboys. And then Elk Grove, also highly ranked by the Bee, taking on a team from Nevada. It's the Honor Bowl. It's a great thing. So pretty good opener. And then, like you said, a fast game. Burbank Grant.
Yeah, Burbank Grant. That is a fast game. That's a lot of running. And two teams that know each other well, obviously, from league days. But it's going to be fun. We can't wait to get out for 0 week. Next week we'll be previewing week 1. And before we know it, we'll be into week 5. And then the season will be ending.
No, it's good stuff. And we thank you for joining us and our good friends from Save Mart up and down the valley there. We got high school coverage everywhere, every day in the Sacramento Bee and on SacBee.com. Re-airs of this show throughout the week. Check your local listings. We're everywhere.
And just a reminder, you catch the show every Tuesday on Comcast Sportsnet California, DirecTV, Dish, you name it, whatever you've got, it's on there. Re-airs Wednesdays and Thursdays. Folks, thank you for watching, and we'll see you next week. Welcome to the new Bee Prep Sports Show.
As we give you an inside look on how we're going to continue our pledge and commitment to the best of high school sports in Northern California.
Welcome to the new Bee Prep Show, and for the next few minutes, we're going to bring you an overview of what the new show will look like for the 2014-2015 campaign.
As a continued commitment and pledge to the Sacramento region, the Sacramento Bee has covered high school sports since 1912. It was rugby back then. It's everything now. There isn't a better way to connect the generations and the community than through the high schools with the coverage as we bring you the insight of the players, the teams, the towns, the history. It gets better every year, and it's a fun project, and we invite you to join our team.
We are excited to bring our high school sports program to television once again. Comcast Sportsnet California every Tuesday with re-airs on Wednesdays and Thursdays. Joe, you can see us on DirecTV, Dish Network, Comcast, AT&T, Consolidated Communications, and Wade Broadband.
Yeah, we're everywhere, and we cover everything: football, basketball, volleyball, boys sports, girls sports. If it's being played, we're covering it. We're going to give you the insight on what these athletes are about, those teams are about, all over Northern California. Strong emphasis in Sacramento, the Sac Joaquin section, but also touch on the Bay Area and all the way up to the Oregon border. If it's big, we're on it.